Detailed summary of When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. Introduction. Embracing Life's Challenges. Pema Chodron. When Things Fall Apart is a guide to finding peace and wisdom in the midst of life's difficulties. Drawing from Buddhist teachings, Chodron offers practical advice on how to navigate pain, fear, and uncertainty. The central message of the book is that when things fall apart, they can also fall together. Instead of resisting or running away from our struggles, we can use them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Chodron explains that life is inherently uncertain and unpredictable. We often try to control our circumstances to avoid discomfort, but this only leads to more suffering. By learning to embrace impermanence and lean into our fears, we can find a deeper sense of peace and freedom. Part 1. The Nature of Suffering. 1. The root of suffering. Chodron explains that suffering arises from our resistance to pain and discomfort. We often try to avoid difficult emotions like fear, anger, or sadness, but this avoidance only makes things worse. Instead of facing our pain, we distract ourselves with work, relationships, or other external pursuits. However, these distractions only provide temporary relief. Suffering comes from resisting pain, not from the pain itself. Chodron uses the analogy of a wound. When we try to ignore or cover up a wound, it only festers and becomes worse. But when we clean and care for the wound, it can heal properly. Similarly, when we face our emotional pain with openness and compassion, we can begin to heal. 2. The illusion of control. One of the main causes of suffering is our desire to control everything. We want life to be predictable and comfortable, but this is impossible. Life is constantly changing, and trying to hold on to stability only leads to frustration and disappointment. Letting go of control is the first step toward finding peace. Chodron encourages readers to embrace the uncertainty of life. Instead of trying to control every outcome, we can learn to flow with the changes and challenges that come our way. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means accepting what we cannot change and focusing on how we respond. Part 2. Embracing fear and uncertainty. 3. Leaning into fear. Fear is a natural part of life, but we often try to avoid it. Chodron suggests that instead of running away from fear, we can lean into it. By facing our fears with curiosity and openness, we can transform them into sources of strength and wisdom. Fear is not the enemy, it's a teacher. Chodron explains that fear often arises when we're faced with the unknown. Instead of seeing fear as something to be avoided, we can see it as an opportunity to grow. By staying present with our fear, we can learn to navigate it with courage and compassion. 4. The Middle Way. The middle way is a Buddhist concept that involves finding balance between extremes. Instead of clinging to pleasure or avoiding pain, we can learn to accept both as part of life. This balanced approach helps us stay grounded and centered, even in the midst of chaos. The middle way is about finding balance and avoiding extremes. Chodron explains that the middle way is not about being indifferent or detached. It's about engaging with life fully without getting caught up in extremes. By finding this balance, we can respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and equanimity. Part 3. Practicing Compassion and Mindfulness. 5. Tonglen. The practice of giving and receiving Tonglen is a meditation practice that involves breathing in pain and suffering and breathing out compassion and relief. This practice helps us develop empathy and compassion for ourselves and others. Tonglen transforms suffering into compassion. Chodron explains that Tonglen is a powerful way to connect with the suffering of others. By breathing in pain and breathing out compassion, we can develop a deeper sense of empathy and connection. This practice also helps us let go of our own self-centeredness and develop a more open heart. 6. The Power of Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of staying present with whatever arises in the moment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can develop greater awareness and acceptance of our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Mindfulness helps us stay present and grounded. Chodron emphasizes that mindfulness is not about achieving a particular state of mind. It's about being fully present with whatever is happening, without judgment or resistance. This practice helps us develop greater clarity and peace, even in the midst of chaos. Part 4. Letting Go and Finding Freedom. 7. The Practice of Letting Go. Letting go is a key theme in When Things Fall Apart. Chodron explains that holding on to past hurts, regrets, or expectations only leads to more suffering. By learning to let go, we can find greater freedom and peace. Letting go is the path to freedom. Chodron uses the analogy of a clenched fist. When we hold on tightly to something, we create tension and pain. But when we open our hand and let go, we release that tension and find relief. Similarly, when we let go of our attachments and expectations, we can find greater peace and freedom. 8. The importance of groundlessness. Groundlessness is the experience of not having a solid foundation or certainty. While this can be frightening, Chodron explains that it's also an opportunity for growth. By embracing groundlessness, we can learn to live with greater openness and flexibility. Groundlessness is an opportunity for growth. Chodron explains that groundlessness is a natural part of life. Instead of trying to find stability in an unstable world, we can learn to embrace the uncertainty and flow with it. This openness allows us to respond to life's challenges with greater creativity and resilience. Part 5. Living with an open heart. 9. Cultivating compassion. Compassion is the ability to feel empathy and kindness toward us and others. Chodron explains that compassion is not about fixing or rescuing others, but about being present with their pain and offering support. Compassion is the key to healing and connection. Chodron emphasizes that compassion begins with us. By developing self-compassion, we can learn to be kinder and more forgiving toward ourselves. This self-compassion then extends to others, creating a sense of connection and community. 10. The practice of loving kindness. Loving kindness is a meditation practice that involves sending wishes of love and happiness to ourselves and others. This practice helps us cultivate a sense of warmth and goodwill. Loving kindness opens the heart and creates positive energy. Chodron explains that loving kindness meditation is a way to develop a more open and loving heart. By sending wishes of love and happiness to ourselves and others, we can create a sense of connection and positivity. This practice helps us let go of negativity and cultivate a more compassionate attitude. Conclusion. Finding peace in the midst of chaos. When things fall apart is a powerful reminder that life's challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth and transformation. By embracing fear, uncertainty, and pain, we can find a deeper sense of peace and freedom. Chodron encourages readers to let go of control, practice compassion, and stay present with whatever arises. In doing so, we can learn to live with an open heart and find meaning in the midst of chaos. When things fall apart, they can also fall together. By embracing life's challenges with openness and compassion, we can find peace and wisdom in the midst of chaos. Thanks for your time. See you later.